Bartholomew Barty Bumble, a scruffy terrier mix with ears that stood up at odd angles and a tail that wagged with the enthusiasm of a washing machine on spin cycle, believed he was a world-class athlete. His chosen sport? Anything that involved running, jumping, and occasionally tripping over his own feet. Every afternoon, Barty would stage his own backyard Olympics. The events were unconventional. The sofa sprint involved a high-speed dash from one end of the living room to the other, often resulting in a dramatic slide into the cushions. The staircase hurdles were a series of leaps up and sometimes tumbles down the stairs. And the flower pot precision weaving was his attempt to navigate the potted plants on the patio without knocking them over. Spoiler alert. He rarely succeeded. One sunny Tuesday, Barty was preparing for the highlight of his Olympics, the Great Garden Hose long jump. He eyed the coiled green hose with the focus of a seasoned Olympian. He took a running start, his little legs pumping furiously, and launched himself into the air, only to discover that the hose was surprisingly slippery. Instead of a graceful leap, Barty skidded midair, his paws scrabbling for purchase, and landed in a heap of tangled green rubber, looking more like a captured garden snake than a gold medalist. Lily and Tom, his human siblings, watched the spectacle from the porch, their faces creased with laughter. Barty, undeterred, shook off the hose, gave a triumphant bark, as if he'd totally meant to do that, and began planning his next event, the squirrel chasing marathon, which he never actually won, as the squirrels were far more agile. Barty loved treats. Biscuits, jerky, even the occasional stray vegetable that Lily accidentally dropped. Barty wasn't picky. So, when a brand new bag of his favorite peanut butter snacks mysteriously disappeared from the kitchen counter, Barty knew he had a mystery on his paws. This was the case of the vanishing victuals. He donned his imaginary detective hat, which looked suspiciously like his regular floppy ears, and began his investigation. He sniffed the counter, the floor, even Lily's backpack. You never knew where treats might end up. His nose led him on a winding trail through the house, his tail wagging with determined focus. The trail eventually led him to himself. He was sitting innocently by the back door, a suspicious peanut butter aroma wafting from his breath and a telltale smear of peanut butter on his nose. The evidence was irrefutable. Barty was the culprit. Lily and Tom, who had been following his investigation with amusement, pointed out the obvious. Barty, however, seemed genuinely surprised by this revelation. He licked his nose thoughtfully, as if pondering the complexities of the case, before letting out a satisfied burp. The case of the vanishing victuals was solved, albeit with a rather guilty and slightly sticky detective. Barty wasn't much of a barker, preferring enthusiastic tail wags and the occasional happy yip. But he did have one very special talent: howling. And not just any howl, a long, mournful, and surprisingly dramatic operatic howl that usually surfaced when he heard certain sounds, like the ice cream truck jingle or the high-pitched whine of the vacuum cleaner. One sunny afternoon, the ice cream truck's familiar melody drifted down the street. Barty's ears perked up, and his inner opera singer awoke. He threw his head back and unleashed a howl so full of emotion it could have melted a popsicle from 10 paces. The neighborhood dogs, hearing Barty's dramatic aria, joined in, creating a hilarious canine chorus accompanying the tinkling ice cream tune. Cats peered cautiously from under bushes, and even the usually grumpy Mr. Grumbles cracked a small smile. The ice cream truck driver, initially startled by the sudden outpouring of doggy opera, slowed down, clearly enjoying the impromptu concert. Kids giggled, and Lily and Tom filmed the whole spectacle on their tablet. Barty, completely absorbed in his performance, seemed to believe he was providing a vital and deeply moving vocal accompaniment to the arrival of frozen treats. When the ice cream truck finally moved on, Barty took a little bow, which mostly involved him wiggling his rear end, clearly proud of his contribution to the afternoon's entertainment. Barty Bumble, the backyard Olympian, the accidental treat thief, and the surprisingly dramatic opera singer, continued to make life in the Higgins household a never-ending source of laughter and furry fun. If you like this video, please leave a like and a subscribe. It will really help our channel grow. But if you don't like it, then just skip it and don't forget to check out our other videos. Thank you very much and goodbye.